Just because you see other people level up their paycheck and they don't have any of these skills, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it, right? Sometimes God lets you see things like that for a reason, for a purpose. But what is it? That's God's business. Your business is to level up your skills so you can level up that paycheck. Now, there's something that I want to address, and I'm not sure if it's the elephant in the room or what, but I talked about skills that level up your professional ability and level up your paycheck, right? But you see people who are successful and they make all this money and they don't do any of these things, right? Or maybe you can say, well, Dr. Linda, you talk about all these things, but did you do them? Did they help you? Well, to that question, I'll say yes. I'm not telling you anything that I haven't done or discovered myself to be critical success factors. However, I would be lying to you if I said that it's the only way to get there. And I would be lying to you if I said there are people who do not use these skills, who do not bother with emotional intelligence or any of the other things that I spoke about before, and they seem to be successful. They seem to make the money. They have no talent. Now, there's something that I want to read, so I'm going to turn my eye contact off a little bit. And this is from the Bible, Psalms 37, verses 1 through 2. Do not fret because of those who are evil, or be envious of those who do wrong. For like the grass, they will soon wither, like green plants, they will soon die away. And so what's my point with that? Just because you see other people level up their paycheck and they don't have any of these skills, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it, right? Sometimes God lets you see things like that for a reason, for a purpose. But what is it? That's God's business. Your business is to level up your skills so you can level up that paycheck. I shared with you that 2 of the worst jobs I ever had ended up being the best jobs I ever had, right? Infectious disease, and then my Vietnam experience as an acting CIO. And the thing is that you have to be in it for the long game. Sometimes it's not a immediate gratification, an immediate satisfaction, or immediate success. Fame, money, power tend to be the short game. But if you're looking at impact, character, and eternal significance, that's the long game. That is the lasting way to level up that paycheck, level up your skills. I want to talk a little bit about so-called talentless people. There was this minister at a church that I used to belong to. He was a terrible preacher. He was awful. He stuttered. He couldn't get a thought out. He just got up in the pulpit behind the microphone and he said, "Church, we've got to love one another. We've got to love one another. Just please love one another." And he pleaded with us every week, if he could, to just love one another. It was a horribly delivered sermon, but powerful and impactful. And so sometimes what we think is talentless is impactful in the long term. So this was 20 years ago, and I still remember this man's sermons and how powerful they were. I'm going to share this last story. When I first started Muse, there were some things that I said I didn't want to do. And because I was a CIO, a former CIO, I did not want people to think that I was author, speaker, leadership coach. That I was going down that path. I wanted people to know that Muse was a legacy company, that we were doing real work, hiring real people, looking for real contracts, right? So I swore I would not take speaking engagements, and I would not do leadership coaching. Well, as God would have it, my very first contract, Muse's very first contract, was a coaching contract. And I got tricked into it because the person that tricked me knew that I would say no. But I had to say yes. I was put in a position where I had to say yes. And as it turns out, the contract that I didn't want, the work that I didn't want to do, ended up blessing me so much. That one little contract ended up launching us into hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue for something I didn't want to do. So be careful what you turn down. Be careful what you think is too small or too menial or too whatever, because that could be the key to your success.